What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Turf Therapy. In this episode, I'm going to take you step by step what I do to get this as smooth as possible. I'm going to show you what my gripes are about it, even though it looks amazing right now. There's goals that I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to achieve a 10mm cut out here in Germany, and I can't do it without smoothing it out with some sand. Now, I already showed you my technique and how I did it with the soil, and that went really well. And in fact, I'm seeding that this coming weekend. Stay tuned for that. But here, I'm going to show you what I do, plus the results of what I end up doing here in the back to achieve that smooth, buttery roll from my hole that I want to put in back here, and just have my mow that much more enjoyable. So at the risk of sounding ungrateful, I want to be clear. I'm very happy with the state of my lawn right now. I put a lot of hard work into it this spring, and for it to only be one season technically old from May up until now, mid-August, if you have any near results like I have, you should be happy. This is not necessary. This is just something I want to do to level up a bit. Now, the first thing that I've done is I've gradually raised my height of cut. I was cutting at 12mm. Now I have it up at 14mm in the back. And my theory behind that is because this is a cool season lawn. I have a really short season transition between summer to fall, and then winter is here. Like, my growth chart looks like it's a summer growth chart, but in fact I have a cool season grass. So I'm leaving it a little bit higher. And then what I'm also going to do is make sure that I get a fertilizer down. Now right here, I have two fertilizers that were actually sent over to me by the company that I got the seed from, Rosenveld. I've been looking for a greens grade or somewhat of equivalent greens grade, because cutting sub 20mm, those prills that are somewhere between 4 to 6mm in diameter, those are too big when it comes to putting them out on my lawn. So I reached out to them and asked them if they had any product that I could use that would kind of get after what I'm looking for, and this is what they sent over. Let's take a look at it real quick. All right, so check me out. Right here, we have the, what is this? This is the Libero II Mini. If you're here in Europe, this analysis on this is a 2259. So this fertilizer can be a multi-purpose fertilizer. It just depends on what your circumstances are and what you're trying to achieve. But that's what we're working with. And this is closer. This isn't greens grade, but this is much more reasonable. This is actually going to get inside of my canopy the way I want it. This is not homogeneous prills, but some pretty good looking stuff. This is going to achieve what I'm looking for. I already opened this one up, and I'm actually not using this one today. I'm going to use this Striker Mini. The analysis on this one is a 10021. Now I'm using this one because I want to put about 0.2 pounds, maybe 0.3 pounds. I might go 0.3 pounds, but we got the same level of consistency. These are much smaller prills. And for comparison, let me go grab you some of the stuff that I got before I took this lawn back, just to show you the disparaging difference and why this is going to be much better if you're real mowing. So this is some of the standard stuff that I get compared to this. Like, that's a big difference, right? This is going to be able to get in my canopy a lot more effectively, and this stuff kind of just sits on the top. So that's why this size is very important to me. Now, the reason why I'm going with the 10021 is because, one, I want to be able to get out 0.75 pounds fairly easy. That's going to be easier to do when your nitrogen is a lower volume, right? So if the number was higher, I'd have less volume to get across this large space. So it's much easier for me to spread 0.2 pounds, 0.1 pound, 0.3 pounds, when my first number on the bag, being nitrogen, is the lower number, because then I need more volume to hit that target rate of nitrogen. Just to flush that out for you if you were wondering. This also has some magnesium and sulfur in it. But another reason why I'm not going with Libero II is not only that it has a 22 as the nitrogen rate, which means I would have less volume to spread across this small space, but I don't really need the phosphorus. My soil has plenty of phosphorus in it. Well, it has adequate amounts of phosphorus in it. I'm not seeding right now, And I'm more so wanting to get a nice pop of potassium because this will be stressful for the turf and it needs to kind of recover from the stressful period it's had. So just a little context and rhyme or reason to why I'm doing the things I'm doing, just in case you're wondering. All right, let's get this spreaded out. Okay, so before we haphazardly just start throwing sand around, I figured I'd take this moment to try to illustrate to you. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but I have these issues like right here, it's flat from here to here, and I have this trench. These are trenching lines that I ran for the irrigation. And since then, they have sunk probably a good, I'd say a good quarter inch they've settled out. So this is preventing me from being able to reach 10 mils, possibly even 8 mils one day, because every time I come across this, guess what? It bottoms out, the Hudson bottoms, and it kind of scalps. And it's scalping because of this pitch right here. When I try to go down that low, I have that issue. So I don't think the Landsea level is giving you the best example, especially since it's closer to 15, 16 millimeters right now, closer to 0.55, 0.6 inches for you Americans back home. But that's okay. That's what we're doing. We're doing that here, and we actually have areas like behind my bed, my garden bed itself, just low spots here and there. So we're just trying to smooth it out, but this is my target area for the most part. Hoping to reach some sense of just smoothness, man. I just want this to be a little bit more enjoyable. Additionally, this is a really good time to go ahead and knock out any bare spots. I do have 2 Yorkshire Terriers. With that love of those dogs also comes, you know, they're dogs, and within the drought, you've had a drought and they're peeing, and they burned up quite a bit of good spots, man. Like, that's never happened to me in Maryland. Their urine never used to burn the ground, and I think it had everything to do with the drought and this being such a young grass. So take this time to go ahead and identify those spots, go ahead and get them cleaned up, use a little hand rake or something, and then throw the seed out, weasel it in real good, and then step on it. It's really that simple. I also had a weak spot over by the edge of my bed, which is why I haven't redefined my edges, because I'm trying to get the edges to grow in properly. It's almost like, you know, when your lineup gets messed up, you avoid the barbershop for a while so your edge have a chance to grow back out. That's kind of what I'm doing with my edges in the backyard. So once they completely fill in, that's when I'll put a nice sharp edge to them. Probably somewhere mid-fall going into the winter, I'll have them in tip-top shape. So we can come out the spring swinging. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Now I just gotta kind of find a technique that works best for me and share with you what I've learned. Let's do it. Okay, people, let me tell you something. Sand capping, sand leveling, sand whatever you want to call this. One thing I know for sure, it ain't for the weak, all right? Now, this was pretty reasonable, man. It wasn't, I mean, I say it's not for the weak, but it wasn't that bad. That was only 1 ton. I had high quality sand. I'm gonna recommend, I went through with topsoil. I had to sift 8 tons of soil. That was no fun. Dropping 1 ton in one evening, that's dope. That's dope. We've come far. The slinging method was the one that worked out best for me. Then following up with the lawn leveling rake from Landsea, and then hitting it with the push broom in areas that was too tight to get into. That was the workflow that seemed to work the best. I tried piling it up and then scooting it around with the landscaping rake, which worked really well for soil. But as I suspected, and I said in those videos when I did the soil leveling video and when I was doing my full-blown renovation this spring here in Germany, I suspected that the lawn leveling rake would really shine here and that landscaping rake wouldn't cut the mustard, and that's exactly what happened. So we got everything spread it out pretty evenly. I can already tell a huge difference just from walking on it. We have the fertilizer done to encourage growth, and at this point we just need some rain. Now, while you stay here and wait for rain, well, no, I'll bring you with me. Why don't we just go to Iceland, kill some time, come back in about 7 to 10 days, and show you what it looks like. How about that? All right, let's roll. Now that was a trip of a lifetime. I hope y'all enjoyed that little short trip to Iceland. Man, I did so much in such a short period of time. Checked out the Sky Lagoon, the Blue Lagoon, hiked a couple mountains, legit mountains. I tried to check out that volcano explosion, but I came in one day too late. But here we are now, 14 days after the sanding process. So I got it back down to a little bit more than 3/4 of an inch. It's actually at 0.80 of an inch, and we're looking good. Most of the areas have fully recovered at this point. We're just taking our time walking it back down. As you can see, the Hudson is doing it like a champ too. They sent me out these extender blocks. Shout out to Brian and Sean for that. And the extender blocks actually let me cut up much higher. So when I came back, I used my rotary mower, whacked it down to 1.5 inches, and then I've been using the Hudson to walk it down even lower. So right now, for the people who say the Hudson can't cut over 1/2 inch, I mean, this is over 1/2 inch, and it looks daggone good. I put a double cut on it. She's nice and clean. But before I let you go, there's some things that I want you to know about the leveling process using sand that you want to keep in mind. There's general 3 rules that you want to obey when you're doing this. One, the first thing is you always want to go coarse over fine material. As soon as you introduce fine over coarse material, you're sealing all your hard work off, and then you end up with different layers in your soil. You don't want to do that. So always make sure you're aiming to do coarse over fine material. For me, this was the last process here on this lawn. I'll be top dressing lightly with that same sourced material, and that's going to be number 2. That's going to be the second thing that you want to make sure that you obey. Whatever source material that you use, you're going to want to make sure that you have access to that source material over an extended period of time. It's not as important as to what type of sand you pick, which, I mean, there is some importance there, but more importantly, you want to stick with whatever source material you end up going with the first time and use it over and over and over again. The third thing I want to leave you with is once you start this, there's no really going back. There's not, oh, I'm going to level with sand this year, and then I'm going to switch up and I'm going to level with soil and then back and forth. Like, no, don't do that. Once you go down this road, do not stop. Just continue to use the sand capping process as you're top dressing and leveling things out. You want to treat this like an overseeding process, right? My recommendation to you is to make sure that you have at least 45 days from your first frost when you're doing this with a cool season lawn. The fall and spring is those times of year where your cool season grass are growing without any stress. I chose to do it in the fall because I have to do my renovation. I had to do my renovation in the spring based off Germany's weather pattern. So this is what we're looking like. We're in pretty good shape. I'm happy with these results. Moving forward, we'll be doing light top dressing throughout the entire year, pretty much until it gets blazing hot and we slip into a drought again. If that happens again, I'll fall back on the top dressing. But coming into spring, we're gonna go light top dressing non-stop, just a little bit at a time, every single month. So that's pretty much it. If you got any questions, drop them down below. I hope this helps you. Overwhelming success. I've had a good year with this lawn. I'm not gonna lie. I've had a really good year. It's a stream confidence booster. If I can do this, you can do it too. All right, I'll catch you next time. Peace.